Is screen visible to all? आता तो है okay. Is screen visible to all? Somebody can reply. Is screen visible to all? Okay, Abhishek. Thank you, Abhishek. So, good morning and good morning to you all. And today I think we'll start with third unit of our subject, that is applied thermodynamics. So, very important unit is there. The unit consisting of performance on boilers, or it is also called as steam generators. The boilers are called as steam generators. So if your friends are there not joined till, so ask them to join this. It's very important. So boilers or steam generators. Who will define boiler? Who will define boiler? What do you mean by boiler? Somebody can chart or somebody can unmute. What is the definition of boiler? So boiler is a device which is used to generate the steam. Hence, it is called as steam generator also. So boiler is used to generate the steam at the desired pressure and temperature by transferring heat produced by burning fuel to water to change it to steam. So water is heated in the boiler at a constant pressure, desired constant pressure and the temperature, and that steam is the water is heated so that it can be converted into steam. So device which generates steam at a desired pressure and temperature by transferring heat is called as boiler. And what is the input for the boiler? Anybody of you? Boiler is a device. We should call it as, what is the important points you should note in your notebook. Boiler is a device generating steam at constant pressure. Okay. by taking heat from burning of fuel. Okay. It is a combination of apparatus used for producing, furnishing, or recovering heat together with the apparatus for transferring the heat so made available to the fluid being heated and vaporized. So it is one of the device that where we are making the arrangement that whatever the water is there inside that particular boiler should be get heated and it can be converted into steam or vapor. So it is a combination device, combination of apparatus. So it is a huge device. So many apparatuses here are used in the boiler. So it is one of the combination or assembly. So that here used for producing, furnishing, or recovering heat together with the apparatus for transferring the heat so that the water can be evaporated or it can be converted into steam. So function of boiler. The function of boiler. The fluid is contained in the boiler drum called as shell. Okay, and the thermal energy released during combustion of the fuel is transferred to water, and this converts water into steam at the desired temperature and pressure. So this is where definition as well as what function of the boiler. So fluid is contained in the boiler drum is called as shell. So and the thermal energy released during combustion of the fuel is transferred to water, and this converts water into steam at the desired pressure and temperature. The function of boiler is just to convert water into steam at desired pressure and temperature by taking the heat from the combustion of fuel. Okay. Till now, I think anybody having doubt? Everybody written? Boiler means what? What is mean by boiler? Anybody having doubt about boiler? Understood up till now? Written what is mean by boiler and purpose of boiler, function of boiler, generating steam at constant pressure, at desired pressure and temperature by taking the heat from the combustion of fuel. So we are burning the fuel, and that fuel is releasing high amount of heat. Heat is nothing but thermal energy. The thermal energy is going to be given to the boiler water, and it is converted into steam. Okay, enthalpy. Okay. So Abhishek, Asmita, understanding. All other, please reply. So applications of boiler. What are the applications of boiler? So boiler are used for, understood Abhishek, good. So boiler are used for power generation. So whatever the power now we are discussing now, steam power plant, okay, or vapor power cycle. So main purpose of the boilers are generating the power. So mechanical or electric power may be generated by expanding steam in the steam engine or steam turbine. So when the steam, whatever the steam produced by the boiler is having high amount of thermal energy, and if this steam is supplied to a boiler, okay, and if this is boiler generating steam at high pressure and high temperature, okay, desired is high, okay, and this is supplied to the turbine, and turbine is developing the power. So whatever the heat is there, it is converted into what? Work. So this is called as steam turbine. Okay. So this steam is converting steam turbine, converting the work, generating the power. So this is going to be heat is converted into what? Heat. Here we were supplying the heat. Thermal energy means what? Heat. Enthalpy. We are supplying. Let us consider this as a Q input, and this Q is converted into what? W. So in the here a steam turbine. So therefore, it is mainly used for power generation. So heating the steam can be, I used so many times that steam is having a lot of energy than water. So thousands times greater energy it is possessing than the water. Therefore, the steam can be used for heating residential and industrial buildings in cold weather and for producing hot waters for hot water supply. So if 1 kg of high enthalpy steam is added in 1000 liter of water. If that enthalpy is too much high, then within less time we can generate hot water. Or steam can be used for heating residential or industrial building in cold weather. So that is the purpose, heating purpose. Industrial purpose, steam can also be used for industrial processes such as for sizing and bleaching, etc. in textile industry and other applications like sugar mills, cement, agriculture, and chemical industries. So all this steam can also be used for heating purposes in industrial processes. So, for example, in the sugar industries, to heat that sugar cane juice. Okay. Now, other applications, cement, agriculture, and chemical industry. Okay. So, others parameters are others applications are also included. I have told already that during the cooking of your army, it was, I think, first time it was used for the army by army. Okay, why? Because in many soldiers are there in the army, and to cook their food is a challenging task. And to cook the rice, etc., if we supply the steam in that particular rice, within fraction of second, huge quantity of rice can be cooked. So it solved the purpose of cooking in case of the army. So in the steam rice, to generate the steam rice. So actually, with the concept of steam rice was first of all used in the army, so that the steam is used to cook the army related here food used by the soldiers. So there we are using the steam, and so many applications are there of steam. Okay. So this purpose is mainly power generation, industrial heating purpose, and next another is what, to heat the buildings. Factor to be considered for selection of a good boiler. Now this steam is used everywhere. It is very important component. And to generate this steam, we are using the boiler. Boiler is the steam generating device. So what kind of factors we have to consider while designing the boiler? So while designing the boiler, first of all, we have to discuss the working pressure, because we know that as pressure increases, saturation temperature also goes on increasing. We know that, and as saturation temperature goes on increasing, it affects this pressure affects the enthalpy of steam, heat of the steam. Therefore, the working pressure and quality of steam. Quality of steam means what? Whether the steam is dry, whether the steam is wet, or whether the steam is superheated. So to obtain the quality of steam, here here steam boiler, so working pressure should be one of the important criteria in the design. So, and then steam generation rate. So how much amount of steam is generating, because pressure is too much, but generation is very less. So it is also not going to be applicable. So we should here expect that you should have the sufficient pressure, sufficient heat. At the same time, the steam generation rate should be also sufficient or optimal. Then floor area available. So floor area available is there. Floor area. So how much? Because boilers are big one. So if we consider the sugarcane industries boilers, so it is too much high. So it is our college, one of the building of college. So for that here, that much big it is there. So it is a multi, like a fifth or 7th floor, seventh kind of seventh floor, 70 feet height, like that is there. So it is a fifth or 6 feet here. We can call here it is going to be fifth or sixth, that we can go for storage floors are there. That kind of six multi-storage building, 6 floor multi-storage building. That way it is big one. So floor area available. Then accessibility for repair and inspection. So there should be, if a boiler are too much assembly, maintenance is too much, therefore in that case we have to do the repairing whenever we require. And to do the repairing, we should inspect the processes happening in the boiler. So accessibility of for repairing should be do easily, that we were saying. And we should inspect the processes, heating, burning of the fuel, then heating of water. So that kind of processes are the pressure generation, how much pressure is there. Then this kind of processes, accessibility for repair and inspection. Comparatively initial cost. So initial cost should be also less one. So erection facilities are there. Erection means what? If it is we one side we have assembled a boiler, and let us have we are getting some difficulty, we are facing some difficulties on that side, and we want to change that location. Easily it can be transferred or erected. Erection facility, or if you want to erect the boiler at a particular place, then that kind of erection facility should be there. Then portable load factor. So the fuel and water available. So how much amount of water available? So portable load factor means what? Sometimes we need less quantity of steam. Sometimes we need more quantity of steam. So that kind of variation in the load that I can be also balanced. That also we have to take into care. How much load is balancing? So sometime in morning we require here more amount of steam. In afternoon we require less amount of steam maybe, and in the evening again we require more amount of steam. So this kind of portable load factors also we have to think into consideration. Fuel and water available. Fuel, because it is without fuel we cannot convert water into steam. So fuel is very much important, and as huge amount of steam can be generated, so input is water is required. So in how much amount of water is available? So though we are our boiler is generating too much amount of steam generation rate is good more, but water is not available nearby the places. It is not also good. So therefore, the fuel and water availability also we have to take into consideration. And operating and maintenance cost. So operating and maintenance cost should be optimum to if here it should be minimum. We expect that it should be minimum. Then same we are coping with the efficient requirements of an efficient boiler. So boiler should generate maximum amount of steam at required pressure and temperature and quality with minimum fuel consumption. So we always expect that within less fuel burning, less fuel consumption, the boiler should generate the more pressure steam, more temperature steam, or it should more temperature and more pressure means it should have more amount of enthalpy. Then steam production rate should be as per the requirements. So we how much is required for the particular application steam generation rate? It should be steam generation rate also should be as per the requirement. Suppose that one industry requires 10 kg per hour amount of steam. But we should supply that to 10 kg per hour, 10 kg per hour, that kind of thing. So steam production rate should be as per the requirement. It should be absolutely reliable. Reliable means what? Somebody will fit on this because whatever the steam generation rate should be consistent. Sometimes it should not happen that one day the boiler is giving 10 kg per hour steam generation rate, and another day it is giving 5 kg per hour. It is not going to be good. So it should be reliable. It should light in weight. If you to transfer the air to transfer from one place to another place, okay. So movability, in that case weight should be less. It should not occupy large place as always expected. If it is, it should not occupy, but range should be steam generation rate should be high, but occupy less space or not occupy large space. It should be capable of quick starting. So quick starting is what? If it is fired, boiler is fired, within less time, within very less time, it should start generating the steam. So that way it should capable of quick starting. So it should conform to safety regulations. It should conform means what? As the steam is very high, having very high thermal energy. So very risky to handle the steam, risky to handle the boiler. So safety features are there. Safety regulations also it should conform. The boiler component should be transportable. Boiler component should be transportable. Without difficulty. It should be transportable without difficulty. Then installation of the boiler should be simple. Installation means if you want to install, if you want to start industry, then installation should be simple so that we can start within less time. It should be kept able to cope up with the fluctuating demands of steam supply. So I told you that sometimes maybe industry needs 20 kg per hour, sometimes 15. So depending on the requirement, it should fulfill the requirements, fluctuating demands. So demand from the industry is not constant. It may vary. So all parts and components should be easily accessible for inspection. repairs and replacement. We can do inspection easily. The tubes of the boiler should not be accumulate a soot or water repellent, should be sufficiently strong to allow wear and corrosion. As now afterwards we are going to see in detail. Okay, so in that case, as boiler tubes are there in the boiler, maybe water tubes are there or maybe fire tubes are there. So due to the heat interaction frequently, so there is a possibility that tubes may get corroded or wear happenings is more because thermal stresses are developed in that particular tube, and therefore what happening is that so this wear and tear is much more. So there should all parts of components should be here. The tubes of oil should not be accumulate soot. Soot means some carbon is going to be depositing on the entire periphery of the tubes. That we call it as soot. राख okay, राख अशी पसरून जाते त्याच्यावरती. It is called as soot. Or water deposits should be and water should be sufficiently strong to allow wear and store. So quality of steel should be built up for tubes should be good one. Water and gas circuits should be such to allow minimum fluid velocity for frictional losses. Velocity of the fluid should be sufficient so that frictional losses should be very less. Then classification of boiler. So you should write from here. So classification of boiler here. Very. This is the first official point of our lecture. This classification of boiler. Up till now, I have taken it has a general knowledge plus some extra knowledge you should get. Okay. This is a classification of boiler. Very much important. So first classification is there depending on the principle or on the basis of principle. Write down fire tube boilers and water tube boilers. So boilers are classified into what? Fire tube boilers and water tube boilers. So what happening is here, so fire tube boiler means what? We have to heat the water. Okay. So we have to heat the water. So we can make an arrangement. Concentrate here. We can make an arrangement such that here it is going to be a vessel. And in this vessel, what we can say here, we can store the water. Water is there. And let us we have heating, burning the fuel, and we are these flue gases are there. These flue gases we can transport through these tubes to this. Gases tubes are there. Okay, and here water is there, and the flue gases are flowing through these tubes, hot gases of burning of the fuel. So these types of boilers are called as fire tube boilers. What is that? These what types of boilers are called what? Fire tube boilers. In which what? Where hot gases or fire is they are supplied through the tubes. In the tubes, the fire gases, hot gases are flowing, and surrounding them is water. Surrounding them is what? Water. So that kind of boilers are called as what? Fire tube boiler. That kind of boilers are called as what? Fire tube boilers. So inside the tubes, what is happening? Inside the tubes, the fire is here inside the tube. Fire is or hot gases are flowing, and surrounding them water is there. So that kind of boiler is called as fire tube boiler. We are describing afterwards. So which are the fire tube boilers are there? One is Cochran boiler, one is Lancashire boiler, Cornish. So these are the names of scientists. Don't worry. So these are the Cochran boiler. So scientist Cochran has designed that boiler. Hence, that boiler is called as what? Cochran boiler. So we'll see in detail. Okay. Another is Lancashire boiler, Cornish or locomotive boiler. So these are the examples. So many times the question is like that. Explain the classification of boiler with examples. So fire tube boiler, we have to give example. Cochran, Lancashire, Cornish or locomotive. Then another boiler is what? Water tube boiler. What is my water tube boiler? Like this, here sometimes what we can do is, here water we can fuel is there here. We can burn the fuel here, okay, and we are surrounding them. These tubes are there, and inside these tubes water is flowing. Inside the tube what? Water is flowing. So that here flue gases are flowing surrounding to that particular tubes, okay, and inside the tube water is flowing. So that kind of boilers are called as water tube boilers. So Babcock and Wilcox boiler, it is the name of the scientist, again I am telling. Babcock and Wilcox boiler is a very famous boiler in the category of water tube boiler. And another is what? Stirling boiler is there. Okay. So fire tube boiler, what is fire tube boiler? In the word itself tells that in the fire tube, inside the tube, fire is flowing, hot gases are flowing, and surrounding to them, water is there. So that kind of boiler is called as what? Fire tube boiler. And water tube boiler, here inside the tube, here water is flowing, and surrounding to them, flue gases are flowing. So that kind of boiler is called as water tube boiler. Now, if you take the example of our bomb, vertical, it is called as simple vertical boiler. प्रत्येकाला bomb आहे का? Everybody, but nowadays I think everybody in many houses where is installing geysers, electric geysers or gas geysers. So I think we are not using, but traditional old in our old time where we were using bomb. So that is one kind of what? Which kind of boiler? Vertical boiler. So here in that case, what is that? Here fire tube boiler. It is what fire tube means. Inside the tube, fire is flowing from here at the bottom side. We are burning the fuel, and that fuel is passing through the tube to the upper side and surrounding to that particular jacket. So here it is one construction of the bomb is like this. So the tube, inside this tube we are burning the fuel. Okay. So and surrounding them water is there. Fire inside the tube, flue gases are there, and this is called as fire tube boiler. And inside the tube, if water is flowing and surrounding them, the flue gases are present. That type kind of boiler is called as water tube boiler. Generally, water tube boilers are efficient than fire tube boilers. They are used in industry, water tube boilers, and fire tube boilers are for low capacity plants. Fire tube boilers are used. Water tube boiler and fire tube boiler, everybody got difference? Anybody having doubt about that? Please mention in chat box. Doubt I can repeat once again. But this is very important. Understood, sir. Thank you. Smita. Then Abhishek also. No, Abhishek is giving only on Asmita understood. Other please reply. Yes, sir. Means yes, sir, or what? Abhishek. Understood or repeat? Shall I repeat or what? Understood. Okay. So repeat once again. Who is telling? Prerna. Okay. Okay. So I will take help of now diagram because Prerna is not understanding from this sketch. Okay. I'll go to directly to the boiler. Okay. Network issue hota repeat sir. Okay, thank you. Vijay Bhad. Okay. So this is the one kind of boiler. Now it is called as what? Cochran boiler. So I would think this is one kind of what? Boiler. Okay, after now, see this is a combustion chamber. Here we are burning the fuel. Here in this case, what is that? Here this will become, this is act as a combustion chamber where we are burning the fuel, and here fuel is burned. So hot gases are produced due to the combustion of fuel or burning of fuel, and these hot gases are here passed through these particular tubes. So these tubes are there. These tubes will carry the hot gases. These tubes are carrying the hot gases, and surrounding to them. So this is entire assembly is called as shell, where we are producing, we are storing the water into that particular boiler. So this is called a what here shell of the boiler. So here surrounding them is water is there, and through these tubes we are flowing the hot gases are produced. So while flowing through this tube, first of all tube is heated and tube will heat that particular water. Okay, and after giving the amount of heat, maximum amount of heat, these flue gases are flowing. These flue gases are flowing. They are escaped through this chimney. Why chimney? Because these flue gases will produce the pollution into the atmosphere. Therefore, it is desired that these flue gases should be released into the atmosphere with here with some precautions. That is, it should be released at the top, more height, so that it should not mix with the air which is directly taken by the human beings or living organisms. Therefore, it should be released at sufficient height. Okay, so that less pollution should be there. And because it is carbon content, maximum it is going to got carbon content. So the chimney is there where we are exhausting the flue gases. But here inside the tube, flue gases are flowing, and surrounding them water is there. So that kind of boiler is called as here fire tube boiler. That kind of boilers are called as what? Fire tube boiler. So inside the tube, and now opposite to that, what is that opposite to that? Inside the tube, fire or flue gases or hot gases are flowing. It is called as fire tube boiler. Okay. Now similarly here we can go for another kind of boiler. Now here we are having one kind of boiler. It is called as what? Water tube boiler. So this is over here combustion of the fuel. Here we are burning the fuel inside at the bottom. Okay, and from as it is burning the fuel in the bottom, so flue gases are produced at the bottom side, combustion chamber side, and these flue gases will flow through this here in this area. So here we are burning the fuel. Okay, so here fire door is there. Here they are given short time fire door. So here we are burning the fuel. Here in this case fire everything. So here in this bottom side, here we are burning the fuel. It is called as combustion chamber, and the fuel here hot gas are produced, fire is produced, and this fire is here passed through this surrounding, and where the water is flowing through these tubes. Water is going to be flowing through these tubes, and whenever the water is get heated, the hot water will occupy the here occupy the at this light. The hot water will occupy the upper side position. And when hottest water will be stored in the shell, here it is on top of shell. Okay, and here water is going to hot water is stored. And when hot water will get the sufficient saturation.
पर दूसरी 24 कौन सा है?
Somebody writing is unmuted. Unmuted.
30 ना 30 करंट चलती है.
Somebody is unmuted. Who is unmuted? Samarth is there? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you unmuted yourself? Not now?
No, sir.
Okay. So here flue gases or hot gases are produced, and these flue gases or hot gases are here flowing surrounding to the tubes. Inside the tube, water is flowing, and flue gases are flowing through the surrounding to them. That kind of boiler is called as fire tube, or that type of boiler is called as water tube boiler. Inside the tube, water is flowing, and surrounding to them, the flue gases are flowing. It is called as what? Water tube boiler. Inside the tube, water. So name itself indicate that through the tube water is flowing, and through the surrounding them flue gases are produced. Understood now? Vijay, Prerna, others please also reply. So repeat once again means again I Prerna, yes sir, understood. Okay. Okay. So first of all, we know that it is fire to boil. In your notebook also you can try to mention. So, Vijay, okay. So first is what? Fire tube boiler and another is what? Water tube boiler. Water tube boiler means what? Babcock and Wilcox. So it is designed by the scientists. These are the scientists, Babcock and Wilcox. And they have designed this boiler, hence it is called as Babcock and Wilcox. So water tube boiler now I have presented to you, okay, for explaining the classification. So that is one of the water tube boiler and it is designed by the scientists Babcock and Wilcox. Hence the name is given as Babcock and Wilcox. Okay, and Stirling boiler. Then method of firing. Then method of firing. So how we are firing, how we are doing the firing, how we are combusting that particular fuel. So depending on that, the boilers are classified into two categories. One is internally fired boilers and another is what? Externally fired boiler. Internally fired boilers and another is externally fired boiler. What is internally fired boiler? So like example is Cochran or Lancashire boiler. So internally fired means what? This entire assembly we call it as a shell, where the water is there, water is present. So this entire assembly is what called as what? Here shell. So this is entire assembly what? Shell. Water is there, and inside this shell only. So this represent the shell. Everything is dome shaped is there. This shape is what? Dome shaped. So this will be representing the shell, and inside the shell we are burning the fuel. So combustion of the fuel take place what? Inside the shell of the boiler. So here it is entire assembly shell. So these kind of boilers are called as what? Internally fired boilers. Is that the combustion chamber is located, situated inside the shell of the boiler, and okay, or the burning combustion chamber or fuel is burned inside the shell of the boiler. So that is called as internally fired boilers. Another type of is there what? Externally fired boiler. What is that externally fired boiler? So if the combustion chamber is not outside the, this is combustion in the what? Babcock and Wilcox boiler. So this is Babcock and Wilcox type boiler. So this is water tube is there, but still category is what? Babcock and Wilcox. So this is called, this example is what? Babcock and Wilcox. Okay, Babcock and Wilcox boiler. So here combustion chamber, this is entire shell where the water is there. Exactly, water is stored here, which is converted into steam. So this is where this water is. Inside the water is flowing, but it is stored in the shell. So this is a dome shaped shell is there. Okay, and the shell, the fuel were not burning in the shell. The fuel were burning in the bottom side, which is outside the shell. Okay, or combustion chamber, when the combustion of the fuel is take place outside the shell, so that kind of boiler is called as externally fired boiler. That kind of boilers are called as what? Externally fired boilers. Everybody getting internally fired and externally fired? Anybody in any doubt? Yes, sir. Asmita, what? Others, please reply. Externally fired. Anybody? Prerna? Okay, yes, sir. Now she is getting. Abhijit Dado. Jagannath is there? No doubt, sir. Okay. No. Jagannath is there today? He's not replying. Pawan Shinde. Okay, no doubt. पवन शिंदे, जगन्नाथ आवताडे. Other, please reply. Ashwini Vasekar, are you in lecture? If you are not answering, then I have to interfere. Ashwini Vasekar, Asawati Bhosle.
Yes, sir.
Understanding, concentrating.
Yes, sir.
ओके, समजतंय का? डाऊट काय आहेत का आतापर्यंत? असावरी?
No, sir. No, sir.
समजले सगळं? दीपाली गोरे.
Yes, sir.
अंडरस्टँडिंग, कॉन्सन्ट्रेटिंग.
Yes, sir.
Doubts till now?
No doubt.
They're not chatting that no doubt, yeah, understanding. It will increase confidence of your teacher. Okay. Others, please. Sangram Bhosle.
Yes, sir.
Understanding, concentrating. Doubt.
Yes, sir.
Doubt is there, or what you are telling? Doubt, yes sir, or understanding, yes sir. Sangram, understanding, na?
Understanding.
Okay. No doubt, but you reply. Pritam Bugde.
Yes, sir.
Concentrating.
Sir.
Understanding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now next we'll go for okay, we shall. Now I think I'm happy. I think Prasad, you now understand, sir. Okay. Now here another category, another classification of boilers is there according to the basis of pressure. So some boilers are classified as what? High pressure boilers, and another is what? Low pressure boilers. Okay. So low pressure boilers means what? Now here some confusion is there in the definition. High pressure, there is no confusion. High pressure boilers means what? The boilers which generate steam having pressure more than 80 bar. More than 80 bar. So these boilers are called as what? High pressure boilers. So these boilers are called as what? High pressure boilers. So for example, Lancashire, Cornish, Benson boiler. Okay, so these are here considered as what? High pressure boiler. So Lemon boiler is not there in this list. Lemon boiler is high pressure boiler. Okay. Then here low pressure boiler. The boilers which generate steam up to 80 bar, 80 or less than 80 bar pressure. So this is called as low pressure boilers. Okay. So or some the books they have defined that low pressure boiler means what? The boilers which generate steam up to 20 bar pressure. 20 बार पर्यंत टीम एखादी जनरेट होत असेल तर त्याला काय म्हणायचं? लो प्रेशर बॉयलर. 20 to 80 they are calling it as a medium pressure boilers, and more than 80 is the high pressure boilers. Okay, so these are according to the steam generation pressure. So we can call that according to steam generation pressure. The boilers are classified as high pressure boilers, and here low pressure boilers, or sometimes I will call it as we are taking some help of books, medium pressure boiler. So 20 bar up to 20 bar low pressure boiler, 20 to 80 bar it is medium pressure boiler, and above 80 bar pressure it is called as what? Here high pressure boilers. Okay, I think there is no problem for pressure. This criteria very simple. Less than 20 low pressure, 20 to 80 medium pressure, and more than 80 it is high pressure boiler. Understood? Please reply so that I will go to next point. Okay, so nobody is replying. Shall I go? Good. Pradeep Dhumal, I am getting reply. Good this time. Okay, first reply Pradeep. Abhish, Asmita understood. Abhishek reply. So a reply in that case. What is at least you will be active in that case. Okay. Then method of circulation of water. How the water is circulated throughout the boiler, depending on that. So here it is what? Natural circulation boiler. So natural natural circulation boiler. So in that case, water is circulated naturally or due to the gravity action. These are called as what? Naturally circulation boilers or naturally circulating water type boilers. Naturally circulating water type boilers. So these are low capacity boilers are there. Lancashire, locomotive. Okay. So these boilers are called Babcock and Wilcox. These are considered as natural circulation boilers. So where there is no external pump motor is used to circulate the water inside the tubes or inside the boiler. So that type of boilers are called as natural circulation boilers. There is no need small capacity boiler. So where we are not using pump or any kind of motor for circulation of water inside the boiler. So these are called as naturally circulating boilers. Another is what? Here forced circulation boilers. Forced circulation boiler means what? Here we are using pump or any external device like pump or motor to circulate the water inside the boiler. So that is called as forced circulation boilers. Forced circulation boilers. Understood this criteria? Very easy. So when we are circulating water naturally, okay, with the help of gravity action only, so that type of boilers are called as naturally circulation boilers. And another is what? Forced circulation boiler, where water is supplied to the boiler with the help of external motor or pump. They are called as forced circulation boilers. Then another category is what? Nature of service to be performed, or nature of service means, or depending on the mobility. So in that case, we can call it as in here. So in this case, some mobility depending on the mobility of the boiler. Boiler कसं आपण एका प्लेस कडून दुसऱ्या प्लेस कडे नेतोय. It is called as what? Mobility. I think everybody is saying mobile now. Initially, the telephone handset was not movable. Means it is installed in the house. It cannot be moved from that house. But now we are having mobile phones. We can take it from one place to another place. So this like that here, land boilers are there. Land boilers are called as what? Here, industrial boilers. Or it is called what? Industrial boilers. Or stationary boilers. Another name is what? Industrial boiler or stationary boilers. So stationary boiler means what? If that boiler is here installed in one particular industry, afterwards it cannot be moved from that place. So that boilers are called as what? Land boilers or industrial boilers or stationary boilers. Where it is installed one time, it cannot be moved from that place. So stationary, it is completely, throughout the life of that boiler, it is stationary there. That boilers are called as what? Land boilers or stationary boiler or industrial boilers. Okay. And another type of boilers here are there. Here it is going to be mobile boilers or portable boilers. Mobile means what? So if we are using small capacity boilers, less weight boilers, so it can be transferred from one place to another place. So that boilers are called as mobile boilers or portable boilers. Okay. Anybody have doubt up till now? Now sometimes what? Once through boilers. Once through boiler means what? Single drum boiler. So what is the here we can say Cochran boiler is there. Only one drum is there. Here in that kind of boilers are called what? Once through boiler or position of drum. So if it is only one single drum, single cell boiler is there, it is called what? Everything is inside the only one drum. So this kind of boilers are called what? Here Cochran boiler. So this is example what? Cochran boiler. So I will take here everything. So shell generation, then after what? Here fuel burning and tube chimney. It is only one drum is there. It is called as single drum boiler. So all things, all accessories or mounting are attached for only one drum, okay, or shell. That boilers are called as single drum. So sometimes what? Longitudinal boilers are there where more than one drum is used. So that are called as multi-drum boiler. So it is shell or it is called a drum boiler. Okay. Then design of gas passages. So sometimes we can use as a single pass boilers, return pass boilers, or multi-pass boilers. So design of gas passage means what? Here, if it is a vertical boiler, our bomb, you can take. It is only one pass is there. So this is called as what? Single pass boiler. So एक surrounding ला water आहे आणि इथे फक्त एकाच पास मधून हीट फ्लो होते. म्हणजे इथून आपण बर्न करतो फ्युएल आणि इट इज एस्केप इनटू द ॲटमॉस्फिअर. बंब जर बघितलं आपण दिस इज कॉल्ड व्हॉट? Single pass boiler. Single pass boiler. Another what? Return pass. Return pass means what? Sometimes we can use this as a this tube as a here we share its fluid, and here sometimes these flue gases can return from the generator where they are going inside this upper side. Afterwards they also return. If there is no, we are not allowed them to go to the atmosphere, then it can be returned through that boiler. So it's called a return pass boilers. Then multi-pass boiler. So depending on that tubes, एकच ट्यूब असते अशा आपण काय केले, आपण अशा 2 ते 3 अशा ट्यूब्स गॅसच्या यूज केले वापरल्या. दॅट इज कॉल्ड मल्टीपास बॉइलर. सो इथून बर्निंग इथं फ्युएलचं एका चेंबरमध्ये केलं आणि हे जे फ्युएल गॅसेस आहेत आपले ते आपण काय केले, एका वेगवेगळ्या ट्यूब मधून ते पास केले आणि इथे सराउंडिंग टू देम इज व्हॉट? वॉटर. असा जर काइंड ऑफ बॉइलर असेल, इज कॉल्ड एज व्हॉट? मल्टीपास बॉयलर्स. इज कॉल्ड एज व्हॉट? मल्टीपास बॉयलर्स. ओके. Then depending on the fuel used असले तर काय येणार? Solid fired boilers, natural draught, sorry, depending on the nature of draught. Here draught म्हणजे चिमणीचे जे गॅसेस आहेत आपले, या चिमणी म्हणून जे पास होणारे गॅसेस आहेत, if these gases are passed with the help of only air, atmosphere present air, so these are called as what? Natural draught boilers. म्हणजे जे चिमणीचे जे गॅसेस आहेत, it is flowed into the atmosphere with the help of gravity naturally. There is called as natural draught. Artificial draught, if some blowers are used, कधी कधी काय केलं जातं, असे blowers यूज केले जातात. जे blowers will suck the air, suck the air coming from the chimney, from hot gases from the chimney. So these are our blowers used केलं. Induced fans, blowers are used to push the hot gases so that within less time they should escape from that particular chimney. So these are called as artificial draught boilers. With the help of blowers, blower आहेत आपले, लोहाराचा भाता कसा आपण वापरतो तसं, that kind of blowers are there. So these are called as artificial draught boilers. Okay. Then heat source. You are not fuel used. It is going to be what? Fuel used, depending on the fuel used. फ्युएल आपण काय येऊ शकतो बॉयलरला, काय येऊ शकतो? कोल. सॉलिड फायर बॉइलर, त्याला काय म्हणतात? सॉलिड फायर. लिक्विड कधी आपण काय करू शकतो? वी कॅन यूज दॅट बॉयलर ॲज ए केरोसिन, पेट्रोल, डिझेल. ओके. these are called as liquid fired or diesel fired boilers or gaseous fuel. Nowadays we can use LPG gas or CNG gas for producing the gases, producing the heat to heat the water. So these are called as gaseous fuel. So combustion of solids here, solid fuels we can use, liquid fuels we can use, gaseous fuels we can use, or electric. Nowadays what? Electricity is also, electrical boilers are also there. We can here produce the heat with the help of electricity. Okay. The electrical boiler, nuclear energy also can be used to heat the water. Okay, there's nuclear boilers. Then hot waste gases or other chemical reactions. This can be to produce the heat source. Heat source म्हणजे generally fuel used कुठले? solid, liquid, आणि हे महत्वाचं आहे. Electrical boilers are also nowadays used. Nuclear energy, and afterwards some hot waste gases. म्हणजे एखाद्या प्रोसेस मध्ये जर गॅसेस, हॉट गॅसेस आपण असेच ॲटमॉस्फिअरला सोडून देत असेल तर ते गॅस जर आपण यूज केले तर त्याला आपण म्हणतो हॉट वेस्ट गॅसेस फॉर अदर केमिकल रिएक्शन. फ्लुइड यूज्ड, स्टीम बॉयलर्स, मर्क्युरी बॉयलर्स और प्रेशर बॉयलर्स. सो दिस मटेरियल फॉर बॉयलर कंस्ट्रक्शन, कास्ट आयर्न बॉयलर. शेलचं मटेरियल जर आपण कास्ट आयर्न वापरलं, then it is called as what? Cast iron boiler. If you are using steel, high temperature, high speed stainless steel, it is called as steel boilers. Okay, so these are the variation principle bases are there where we are classifying the boiler. But very much important is here, first I have told here is here fire tube boiler, water tube boiler. Method of firing: internally fired boiler, then externally fired boiler. Then pressure of steam: high pressure boiler, low pressure boiler. Method of circulation of water: naturally circulating water type or naturally circulation boilers. Then here it should be steam boiler, here fluid is the here steam boilers, mercury boilers, then drum depending on multi-pass or single pass. याला आपण काय काय पुस्तकामध्ये आता ड्रमच्या ऐवजी सिंगल पास म्हणले. Okay, so that in our notebook some I have given that way you have to refer the classification. But nature of drought, natural drought, artificial drought, and depending on the fire you fuel used, liquid fired, okay, gas fired, or solid fired. Solid fired means coal fired. Generally coal is used as a fuel inside the boiler. Up till now, anybody having doubt, questions, understood, please reply. Any doubt? I'm supplying. No doubt, sir. No doubt. Spelling is drought. Abhishek Dado spelling is doubt spelling you have forgotten, or drought spelling you are using. Others please reply. Okay. So now here, generally many times they are asking the question also. Differentiate between water tube boilers and fire tube boilers. Before that, I want to revise some things from your side. What is meant by water tube boiler? So we'll define. So before that, I want a specific some students. Okay. Pancharatna power is there. Whether you are understanding or not, I want to check. Pancharatna power. Pratik Atkale. Pratik Atkale is not there. Bhargav Dake.
Yes, sir.
Bhargav ji, what is meant by fire tube boiler? Bhargav, anybody can tell particular fire tube boiler? Concentrate. If doubts are asked, the doubts are there, because many times they are asking the difference set between fire tube boiler and water tube boiler. Anybody?
Sir, can I?
You can.
Fuel is flowing inside the tube and surrounding water is present is called fire tube boiler.
Okay. And water tube boiler? Water is inside the tube and hot
inside the tube.
Okay.
Yes.
The name itself indicates that fire tube means what? Fire tube means inside the tube, fire or heat, hot gases. So here it is given. So fire tube boiler, LHS side, water tube boiler, RHS side. Is screen visible to you all in all respect? Any problem about visualizing the screen? Screen visualization, any problem? कमीत कमी याला तर उत्तर द्या सर. नो सर वगैरे काय. विजिबल सर अस्मिताच देते होतं. बाकीचे काय गणेश गवळी आमच्या आत्ता बोललेत. येस सर, गुड सर. ओके, so position of water and hot gases. Okay, so hot gases inside the fire tube boiler means hot gases inside the tubes. Name itself indicated fire tube means hot gases inside the tubes and water outside the tube. Surrounding them water is present. Water tube boiler चं काय condition आहे? Water inside the tube and hot gases outside the tubes. So this kind of two constructions we can get. Then mode of firing. Generally here फायर ट्यूब बॉयलर्स, कोचरॉन बॉयलर आपण बघितला कसा असते, इंटरनली फायर्ड बिकॉज शेल इज very small in that case. Shell is inside the shell only we are firing the boiler. And water tube बघितला आपण Cochran आहे Babcock and Wilcox boiler, it is externally fired boilers. ऑपरेटिंग प्रेशर, आता ह्याचं खूप प्रेशर कमी असतंय फायर ट्यूब बॉयलरचं. ऑपरेटिंग प्रेशर लिमिटेड टू 16 बार, कमी प्रेशर आहे. ओके, and this operating pressure of water tube boiler because it is can be huge assembly we can make and can work under high pressure as 100 bar or more than 100, not 100 bar, it is more than 100 bar. Then rate of steam consumption, as it is low capacity boilers here, therefore the steam generation rate is definitely lower in case of the fire tube boiler and steam generation rate is higher in case of water tube boiler. Then suitability for large power plants, म्हणजे large power plant ला जर आपल्याला जास्त power generate करायची, जास्त steam लागत असेल तर fire tube boilers are not that much suitable. For small plants, for heating water etc. at hostel etc. here we can use the fire tube boiler. And water tube boiler suitable for large power plants like sugar industries or any other shift textile industry. There we can use the water tube boiler. Then bursting or explosion, chances of risk on bursting or explosion. So as it is less pressure is there, involves lesser risk. Pressure कमी असल्यामुळे risk काय असणार, कमी असणार, because pressure is up to 16 bar. Here pressure is more than 100 bar. So involves lesser risk on explosion due to lower pressure and involves more risk on bursting due to high pressure. म्हणजे जर एकदा बॉयलर बस्ट झाला तर लेस रिस्क आहे कारण प्रेशर कमी आहे. Here it is going to be more risk is there because pressure is steam generation pressure is more. And floor area is there less capacity less असणार म्हणजे floor area काय असणार याचा, for a given power occupies more. Okay, actually generally actual floor area is less but for same power ला जर आपल्याला जर comparison केलं तर floor area more लागतो and it for a given power occupies less. पण जर साइज बघितली तर लो कॅपॅसिटी असल्यामुळे फायर ट्यूब बॉयलर्स आर स्मॉलर इन साइजेस and water tube boilers are bigger in sizes. फायर ट्यूब बॉयलरचं कन्स्ट्रक्शन डिफिकल्ट कारण त्याच्यामध्ये सगळं एकाच असेंब्ली मध्ये आपल्याला we have to do it. Therefore fire tube boiler construction is difficult. Here water tube boiler construction is simple. Transportation fire tube boiler, here it is going to be simple, it is wrong, and here it is going to be difficult. Shell diameter large for same power साठी shell diameter large लागते. Water tube boiler ला small for same power. Chances of explosion कमी प्रेशर असल्यामुळे लेस. वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर चान्सेस काय आहेत एक्सप्लोजनचे कमी आहेत. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ वॉटर not so necessary because here that steam is going to be what stored in the shell. Okay, and inside the tube water is flowing, so therefore what treatment of water not so necessary. And water tube boiler more necessary because corrosion erosion त्या tubes भरपूर tubes मधून water flow होत आहे आणि ट्यूबच्या डायमीटर काय असतात एकदम कमी असतात त्यामुळे वॉटर ट्रीटमेंट इज नेसेसरी. देन accessibility of various parts. Fire tube la it is going to be what here various parts are not so easily accessible for cleaning, repair and maintenance because एक कॉम्पॅक्ट असेंब्ली असते, एकच शेल असतो, एका शेल मध्ये सगळं आपण इन्स्टॉल केलेलं आहे, सगळे पार्ट्स असतात आणि इथे व्हेरियस पार्ट्स आर मोर ऍक्सेसिबल. इथं वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर मध्ये काय होतंय प्रत्येक पार्ट हा वेगवेगळा आहे, म्हणजे कंबशन चेंबर वेगळा आहे, ट्यूब्सला मधल्या सेक्शन मध्ये ट्यूब्स आहेत आणि वरच्या सेक्शन मध्ये काय असतं शेल किंवा त्याच्यामध्ये शेल किंवा तिथे ड्रम असतो, त्यामुळे व्हेरियस पार्ट्स आर मोर ऍक्सेसिबल. रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ स्किल रिक्वायर लेस स्किल फायर ट्यूब बॉयलरला अँड वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलरला मोर स्किल. I will repeat once again I will repeat. Fire tube boiler and water tube boiler we want to get the differentiation points. So first point is position of water and hot gases. So already I discussed with you here. Fire tube boiler hot gases are inside the tubes. Water tube boiler water inside the tube and hot gases outside the tubes. Mode of firing generally internally fired fire tube boiler and water tube boiler externally fired. Operating pressure here operating pressure limited to 16 bar and तिकडे operating pressure more than 100 bar. Rate of steam generation low capacity असल्यामुळे lower, high water tube boiler it is higher. Suitability of larger power plants as pressure is less, definitely not suitable for higher plants or fire tube boilers, but water tube boilers can be suit for here large power plants, large power generation. And risk of bursting explosion, pressure जास्त generate होते म्हणून इकडे fire water tube boiler involves more risk on bursting due to higher pressure, involves lesser risk on explosion due to lower pressure. Floor area same power la, for same power fire tube boiler require more space, more area, and for given power occupies less. But actually मध्ये water tube ला जास्त area लागतो, fire tube ला जास्त कमी लागतो. But for same power जर ऑप्ट करायचं असेल दोन्ही बॉयलर कडून तर आपल्याला occupies more space in by the fire tube boilers. Construction फायर ट्यूब बॉयलरचं बिकॉज सगळंच एकदम एकाच ट्यूब ड्रम मध्ये आपल्याला सगळे माउंटिंग ऍक्सेसरीज इन्व्हॉल्व करायचे असल्यामुळे फायर ट्यूब बॉयलर रिक्वायर्स मोर कन्स्ट्रक्शन डिफिकल्ट. वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर सिम्पल कारण वेगवेगळे कंपार्टमेंट आहेत. ट्रान्सपोर्टेशनला फायर ट्यूब बॉयलर सिम्पल आहे, इथं डिफिकल्ट आहे. शेल डायमीटर लार्ज फॉर सेम पॉवर, इकडे स्मॉल फॉर सेम पॉवर. चान्सेस ऑफ एक्सप्लोजन कमी प्रेशर असल्यामुळे लेस आहेत, इकडे मोर आहेत. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ वॉटर कारण सर्व एकाच शेलमध्ये वॉटर असल्यामुळे ते काय जास्त त्याची ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ वॉटर करायची गरज नाही. पण याच्यामध्ये वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर ट्रीटमेंट इज नेसेसरी बिकॉज त्यामध्ये जर समजा तुमचे मड पार्टिकल्स वगैरे जर आले वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर मध्ये तर त्याच्यामध्ये काय होईल, मड पार्टिकलचं जास्त हिट केल्यामुळे आपल्याला काय होईल, ते सूट म्हणजे काय या ट्यूबच्या अवतीभोवती ते सूट कार्बन डिपॉझिट होईल किंवा ते मडचे पार्टिकल डिपॉझिट होईल, तर आपण म्हणतो सूट. आणि त्यामुळं वॉटर ट्रीटमेंट गरजेचं आहे इन केस ऑफ वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर. ऍक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑफ व्हेरियस पार्ट्स, फायर ट्यूबला थोडी कमी असते ऍक्सेसिबिलिटी, वॉटर ट्यूबला जास्त असते. आणि रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ स्किल, फायर ट्यूब लो कॅपॅसिटी आहे, लो पॉवर जनरेशनसाठी वापरतात त्यामुळे, आणि पार्ट सिम्पल आहे कन्स्ट्रक्शन त्यामुळे रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ स्किल इज व्हेरी लेस. ओके, अँड मोर स्किल इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर वॉटर ट्यूब बॉयलर. अंडरस्टूड. आणि हे अंडरस्टूड आय वॉन्ट एव्हरीबडी to involve in the chat box now. Understood? Okay, good. Mayuri Abangra, very good. First time Mayuri interacting this lecture. Prerna Wankade, Rahul. Okay, Onkar understood. Good. Arjun, very good. Okay, yes sir. This is Datta. Good. Now I'll request all of you to note down some points related to that. Understood. Yes, sir. Good. Very good. I require to note down some important points here of difference between fire tube boiler and water tube boiler. I will give 2 minutes for this, 2 to 3 minutes for this screen so that you can note down some points. So I request everybody, if you are sitting with pen and notebook, then some important points are there. You can always try to highlight or try to write the important points in your notebook. You read first. Important points you write down. I'm going to supply. I'm going to give you this PPT. I'm going to upload maybe today's lecture after end of today's lecture, or maybe next lecture at the end of next lecture, or this today's lecture. Bhargav over. Bhargav Dake. Over. Asmita. Asmita Sarvane. Okay. Tutuja Kal. Yes. Okay. Very good. Now we'll go for first another now one by one boilers. The important boilers are there: Cochran boiler and Babcock and Wilcox boiler, and some locomotive boiler. So first boiler is Cochran boiler. What is Cochran boiler? As the name itself, here name means what? Cochran boiler name is scientist. This is Cochran, maybe the name of scientist who have designed this boiler. Therefore, it's called as what? Cochran boiler. Okay. So what is Cochran boiler? It is vertical boiler. Now another definition is classification I have forgotten, or it was not there in there. It is called as what? According to the axis of shell. The shell I have boiler. That it is going to be axis of shell. Shell axis. If it is horizontal, then that type of boiler is called as what? Horizontal boiler. And if the axis of shell is vertical, so the shell aside and the axis of shell is what? Vertical, then that kind of boiler is called what? They are vertical boiler. So Cochran is what? Vertical type of boiler. Multitubular means what? Whatever tubes are there of fires or hot gases, these are not one more than one. Therefore, it is multitubular boiler. As it is fire tube boiler, it is internally fired boiler. Natural circulation means what? No external pump is used to here circulate the water inside this particular boiler. And next is fire tube boiler. Okay, up to fire tube boiler means inside the tubes fire is going to be producing, flowing, and surrounding them water is there. Up to maximum steam pressure of 15 bar. Maximum evaporative capacity is 400 kg per hour. Kg of steam per hour. 4000 kg of steam per hour can take from this particular. You can evaporate 4000 kg of water per hour. So maximum evaporative capacity कितपर्यंत जाऊ शकते 4000 kg of steam per hour. तेवढी आपण steam generate करू शकतो त्या boiler नुसार. Okay, now these are the features of Cochran boiler. Now this is construction. So this is our Cochran boiler. So this is entire drum is there. So I will use the pen option. This entire assembly is called this where I have earlier I have highlighted with the help of what? Highlighter, yellow highlighter. So this will be entire will be a shell. This is called what? Shell of that particular boiler. Okay. This entire will be the shell of the boiler. This will be shade of the entire shade of the boiler. Okay, so this is what vertical axis. It is a vertical boiler. Okay, and here again internally fired. Why internally fired? Because the fire tube or combustion chamber is what located inside the shell of the boiler. Therefore, it is called as what? Here, which type of boiler? Internally fired boiler. Multitubular. Then what? Fire tube boiler. Okay. Now what is happening? So here this water is surrounded up to this level here. Water is there. Okay. It is poured with the water. It is stored. Water is stored there. And at the bottom side, here is the combustion chamber. Here is a little bit red area is there. It is going to be this will be the combustion chamber. And here it is ash pit. Here ash pit means what? Here whatever after burning the fuel, all fuel will not burn. Some fuel remain unburned in the form of ash. Ash means anybody? Ash pit is there. It is what? Ash pit is there where we are whatever the unburned fuel is there in the form of ash. It is remained here. And it is grate is there. Grate means it is a grid like structure. जाळी असते एक प्रकारची त्याच्यामध्ये आपण काय करतो fuel burn करतो जाळी त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो grate like structure. This is called as grate. Okay, so this is going to be grate. On this grate the fuel is burned. Okay, here ash pit is there. Ash pit means what? Whatever the whenever the ashes remained unburned, त्या grate मधून काय होते खाली गोळा येते आणि it is stored the ash pit. एक काय म्हणतात एक आपण एक प्रकारचं काय पॉट व्हेसल ठेवू शकतो right? Ash is going to be collected. So unburned fuel is remained in the form of ash and is they are stored at the bottom side. So this fuel burns and this will give the high heat, thermal energy, or hot gases are produced, and these hot gases are here flowing through this particular passage, and afterwards it is going to be flowing through this multitudes of fire tubes. Okay, and here these hot gases will heat the tubes and water. First of all tubes and afterwards what? Water, and here these water will get heated. आता वॉटर हीट केल्यानंतर त्याची डेन्सिटी काय होते? एनीबडी? वॉटर हीट केल्यानंतर ती डेन्सिटी काय होईल? कोल्ड वॉटर अँड हॉट वॉटर डेन्सिटी विल increase or decrease? बघू your basics. Somebody can reply. Density will water will get heated. आज इकडे water heat केलं तर ती डेन्सिटी काय होईल?
डिक्रीज.
Decrease. Very good. कोण सांगितलं? Somebody who answered. Name please. Pradeep Duman, am I right? Very good. So density काय होईल त्याची? डिक्रीज होईल, आणि डिक्रीज झालेलं वॉटर म्हणजे ती डेन्सिटी डिक्रीज झाल्यानंतर इट विल बिकम हॉट वॉटर. हॉट वॉटर विल ऑक्युपाय ॲज इट्स डेन्सिटी इज लेस ऑक्युपाय अप्पर मोस्ट पोझिशन. काय होईल? पाणी जसं गरम होत जाईल तसं तिथे काय जाईल ते इट विल ट्राय टू ऑक्युपाय द अप्पर मोस्ट पोझिशन द शेल. म्हणजे जिथं पहिले एकदम सगळ्यात एकदम काय असणार? एकदम इथं हॉट वॉटर, त्याच्यापेक्षा थोडं गरम, थोडं लेस हॉट वॉटर. Okay, because as density of water, as it is water will become hotter and hotter, it will try to occupy the upper side position because its density goes on decreasing, and in गार पाणी जे असणार आहे ते it will come down to near to the combustion chamber, or it is called as natural circulation. It is called as natural circulation or thermosiphon action. It is also called what? Thermosiphon action. म्हणजे टेम्परेचर डिफरन्स मुळे वॉटर काय होतं? म्हणजे गरम पाणी वर जायला बघतं, ट्राय करतं, आणि गार पाणी काय होतं? खाली येतं. त्याला काय म्हणतो आपण? थर्मोसिफॉन ऍक्शन. ड्यू टू टेम्परेचर डिफरन्स वॉटर इज फ्लोइंग. हॉट वॉटर विल ऑक्युपाय ट्राय टू ऑक्युपाय द uppermost position, and cold water will try to occupy the lowermost position. And now here, as saturation temperature will reach here, as they have this water have absorbed the latent heat required for the phase change process, this water will start converting into steam. जर ह्याला जर तेवढी हीट मिळाली, ह्या खालच्या लेअर कडून वरच्या लेअरला वॉटरला हीट मिळते, सफिशियंट हीट मिळाल्यानंतर वॉटर विल कन्वर्ट इनटू व्हॉट? स्टीम. Okay, and this is here in this is the upper portion, this is dome shaped portion. Steam density नेहमी वॉटर पेक्षा काय असणार आहे? कमी असणार आहे. Where therefore it is stored at the upper side position, and here this is dome shaped position is there where we are storing that particular steam. Okay, and this steam is now, whether this steam direct here steam will be what? Which kind of steam is there generally? Wet steam असेल का, dry असेल का, superheated steam असेल? Anybody of you? Somebody want to tell? कशी स्टीम असली? अस्मिता सर होते. व्हेरी गुड. वेट स्टीम. व्हेरी गुड. ओके, वेट का असणार? बिकॉज इट इज इन कॉन्टॅक्ट विथ वॉटर, देअरफॉर याच्यामध्ये वॉटर पार्टिकल असते, देअरफॉर इट इज स्टीम इज व्हॉट? वेट स्टीम. आणि याच्यातले आपण काय म्हणतो आता? Everybody getting? So steam is stored in the at the bottom here upper side. Okay, it will absorb the heat required as per here as per latent heat, or if it will absorb the heat required for the phase change at the latent heat of for phase conversion, and it will convert into steam. And afterwards these flue gases, सारखे flue burning होणार, सारखे flue gases आपले तयार होणार, आणि सारखे these flue gases will be what? They are supplied to this tube, and after giving their heat to the water, what will happen? These flue gases are in the smoke box. सगळे एकत्र सगळ्या ट्यूब मधले flue gases were converted here it is storing into the smoke box, and from that it is allowed to escape. याच्यामध्ये हीट असते. इट इज कॉल्ड अबाउट हीट लॉस. आफ्टरवर्ड्स वी विल गोइंग फॉर द हीट लॉस. सगळी हीट ती देणार नाहीत, काय हीट त्यांच्याकडे राहणार. दिस हॉट गॅसेस आर एस्केप्ड थ्रू दिस चिमनी into the atmosphere. Okay, now here one here manhole door is there. Here manhole door means what? Here one hole is there from this one, man can during this is two purposes are there manhole door. So manhole door means what? During maintenance, this man can ekada manus man can enter, or human being, okay, can enter into this particular combustion chamber, and it can for repair purpose or maintenance purpose. And another is there manhole means what? Through wherever the operations are going on. So from this, he can visualize the burning process. He can visualize the whether everything is going smooth or not. For inspection of boiler, this manhole can be used. So this is a firebox is there. This is firebox I already told, where the fuel is burning and it is here producing the fire. It is combustion chamber means here hot gases are stored like this here. So this flue gas where we are doing the combustion. So this entire event will be also called as combustion. The combustion chamber where hot gases are produced and they are passing through this particular tubes. Then water, now this is a water level indicator. And here this is very important. So for this boiler, required water level should be maintained. काय होईल एखाद्या वेळेस काय वॉटर लेवल तुमची डिक्रीज होत गेली तर काय होईल, आणि हिटिंग चालू असेल तर वॉटर संपलं तुमचं वॉटर, सगळं वॉटर कन्वर्ट झालं स्टीम मध्ये, वॉटर संपलं तरी पण तुमचं कंबशन चेंबर चालू आहे, फायर चालू आहे, फ्युएल बर्न होतं, तर काय होईल हिअर all parts it will the hot gas will heat the all parts of the boiler, and maybe possibility that after लक्षच नाही दिलं आपण काय नाही तर it may also, if the fire is too much high and if water is not there, then this may burn entire boiler, or it may explode that particular boiler. So therefore this is water level indicator is there, very much essential that it is glass tube असते इथं, आणि त्यामुळं आपल्याला तिथून आपण बघू शकतो की वॉटर लेवल किती लागते ते इन्स्टॉल केल्यानंतर आपण बघू शकतो की ह्या लेवलला ग्रीन मार्क लिहून ठेवायचा, जेणेकरून आपण म्हणू शकतो बाबा ह्या लेवल पर्यंत पाणी असेल तर इट विल बी ओके, दिस इज रिक्वायर्ड. किंवा ह्याच्या खाली जर आली तर ह्याची ग्रीन पण थोडं चालतंय खाली आली तर, पण ह्याच्या खाली आली तर चालणार नाही. मग ते वॉटर लेवल इंडिकेटर, इफ लेवल ऑफ वॉटर गोज डाऊन देन डेफिनेटली वी कॅन फीड वॉटर थ्रू दिस पर्टिक्युलर बॉइलर. तर दिस फीड चेक वॉल, फीड चेक वॉल म्हणजे वॉटर इन, म्हणजे जर वॉटर लेवल कमी झाली तर आता ऑटोमॅटिक ऑपरेशन असतं सेन्सरचं आहे ना, वॉटर इन केलं की वॉटर विल इनसाइड व्हेन वॉटर लेवल गेट डिक्रीजिंग, so with the help of feed check wall, या wallच्या साहाय्याने आपण we can supply the water inside this particular boiler. Okay. So another thing is their pressure gauge. Now we know that sufficient amount of pressure should be generated, pressure of steam should be generated from the boiler. This is one of the pressure gauges there. So pressure gauge means what here? So pressure gauge will record the pressure of steam. जेवढे प्रेशर स्टीम साठी आपल्याला लागतं, आपल्याला त्याची प्रॉपर्टीज फाइंड आउट करायला, प्रेशर ऑफ स्टीम इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. किंवा हा बॉयलर एक सफिशियंट प्रेशर स्टीम जनरेट करायसाठी डिझाईन केलेला असतो. तर त्याच्यापेक्षा जर जास्त प्रेशरची स्टीम जर जनरेट झाली तर इट मे बी पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ एक्सप्लोजन. देयरफॉर इट इज इम्पॉर्टंट दॅट we should know the pressure of the steam with the help of pressure gauge. So pressure gauge will record the pressure of that particular steam. Then steam stop wall. आता ही जर तुमची जर स्टीम स्टॉप वॉल ही जर तुमची स्टीम तयार झालेली आहे, तुम्हाला जर वेट स्टीम कुठल्या एखाद्या ऍप्लिकेशनला पाहिजे असेल हिटिंग पर्पजसाठी वगैरे, कुकिंगसाठी वगैरे आपल्याला वेट स्टीम चालू शकते, कारण इट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड दॅट वी शुड हॅव द सुपर हिटेड स्टीम or dry steam. This any particular application we can use this particular steam. Steam stop wall, this wall is there. There wallच्या साहाय्याने आपण काय करू शकतो, we can make the flow on of this particular steam or flow off. The steam stop wall, a wall फिरवल्यानंतर आपल्याला steam, we can get steam to be supplied to the particular application. Now here it is what dead weight safety wall. Now I have told you that pressure gauge. So here sometimes steam is generating of higher pressure than the desired pressure. जास्त जर तुमची वॉटर क्वांटिटी जर तुमची काय झाली जास्त झाली आणि इथला स्पेस कमी झाला, तर कमी स्पेस मध्ये जर आपण जास्त व्हॉल्यूम स्टीम जर आपण स्टोअर करत असेल तर इट विल बी व्हॉट मोर अमाऊंट ऑफ प्रेशर ऑफ स्टीम विल बी जनरेटिंग लाईक दिस. आणि ह्या शेलचं एक प्रेशर असतं या मटेरियलचं, किंवा त्या डिझाईन प्रेशर एक असतं बॉयलरचं. तर त्यापेक्षा जर आपली जास्त प्रेशर झाली तर एक आपल्याला डेड वेट सेफ्टी वॉल म्हणून असतो. डेड वेट सेफ्टी वॉल काय करतो की हा सेफ्टी वॉल जर रिक्वायर्ड प्रेशर पेक्षा समजा इथून एक त्याचं डेड वेट असतं, त्याचं काहीतरी वेट असं अप्लाय करत असतं फोर्स, आणि इकडं स्टीमचं प्रेशर एक असतं. आणि इथं समजा ज्यावेळेस समजा स्टीमचं प्रेशर जास्त असेल, जास्त होईल त्यावेळेस हा डेड वेट काय होतो, उचलला जातो. आता उचलला जातो आणि तिथून त्या पॅसेज मधून काय होते, स्टीम विल बी फ्लो टू द आउटसाइड. प्रेशर कुकर, वन ऑफ द कन्सेप्ट इज देअर प्रेशर कुकर. वेन वी से दॅट व्हिसल ऑफ द प्रेशर कुकर, चिट्टी प्रेशर कुकरची, त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो, तुम्ही जर बघितलं नॉमेनक्लेचर प्रेशर कुकरचं, त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो, डेड वेट सेफ्टी वॉल्व. डेड वेट सेफ्टी वॉल्व म्हणजे काय होतं, जसजशी तुमची स्टीमचं प्रेशर जास्त होईल त्याच्या डिझाईन प्रेशरपेक्षा, त्याच्या मग त्या डेड वेट म्हणजे इक्वली प्रेशर, जेवढं प्रेशर डिझाईन आहे तेवढं डेड वेट तिथं अप्लाय केलं जातं. त्याच्यापेक्षा जर जास्त प्रेशर चमचे तयार झाले तर काय होईल, ते स्टीम विल अप्लाय अपवर्ड फोर्स ऑन दिस प्रेशर वेट अँड डेड वेट विल लिफ्ट. जोपर्यंत प्रेशर इथलं कमी आहे डेड वेट पेक्षा, तोपर्यंत डेड वेट आहे राहणार आणि स्टीम विल वी आर स्टोरिंग दॅट पर्टिक्युलर स्टीम ऍट दॅट प्रेशर. ओके. आणि डेड वेट सेफ्टी वॉल्व काय होईल, ज्यावेळेस प्रेशर एक्सीड होईल ऑपरेटिंग प्रेशरपेक्षा किंवा डिझाईन्ड प्रेशरपेक्षा, in that case dead weight will be lifted and the steam will be passed through this dead weight passage. आणि ज्यावेळेस प्रेशर इक्वल होईल तेव्हा डेड वेट खाली येईल आणि there it will be pressure there, then in that case here डेड वेट विल ऑपरेट. म्हणजे कशासाठी, तर ऍक्सिडेंट वाढण्यासाठी. हे सगळे जे हे डिव्हाइसेस आहेत, दोज आर युज्ड फॉर सेफ्टी पर्पज. म्हणजे बॉयलरची सेफ्टी वाढवण्यासाठी जे डिव्हाइस वापरत आहेत त्याला आपण म्हणतोय बॉयलर माउंटिंग्स. वी आर गोइंग टू कॉल इट देम एज ए बॉयलर माउंटिंग्स. इज कॉल्ड एज बॉयलर माउंटिंग्स. कुठले कुठले, तुमचं स्टीम स्टॉप वॉल, देन तुमचं प्रेशर गेज, then dead weight safety valve, anti-priming pipe. Anti-priming pipe means what? Here it is the one pipe is there here. Through this pipe, whatever the water is there, sometimes as it is closer to the water, so this steam may contain some water particles. So this anti-priming pipe is there. It is going to be what? It can be absorb the water particles in that particular steam. It can be water can be removed. So whatever the amount of water we can here use, so this can be absorb, we can take out from that particular water, and for that anti-priming pipe is there. Priming means to supply the water, anti means what, take out the water particles from that particular steam. So this is anti-priming pipe is there. The chimney I already explained chimney. Then here it is going to be mud shape. I told great ash pit. Now here we here feasible plug. Okay, combustion chamber, brick, fire brick line. So bricks are used for the burning purpose because it is what too much insulated or resistance to the fire. त्याच्यावर काय होते, it will not allow heat to go outside the atmosphere. Therefore, this is what generally bricks are used for the combustion chamber. They are high resistance. High material of brick is what, high resistance to the fire. Therefore, we are using brick for this particular generally combustion chamber. Okay, then water level indicator I have told the purpose. Okay, manhole door I told you purpose. Now blow off cock. Okay. Now blow off cock, why it is used? आता काय असते, now I will explain. Okay, in Marathi so that you will understand because this time is there. Blow off cock म्हणजे काय, ह्या वॉटर बरोबर आपण जे वॉटर आपण फीड चेक वॉल नुसार सोडलेलं असते. जनरली आपण वी आर नॉट गोइंग फॉर द वॉटर ट्रीटमेंट, म्हणतो आपण वॉटर ट्रीटमेंट इज नेसेसरी फॉर वॉटर टू बॉयलर. But generally sometimes whatever the water we are using from the river, canal, that water we are using for the boiler. कारण 4000 kg per hour एवढी स्टीम जर जनरेट करायची असेल तर 4000 टन एवढं वॉटर जर आपल्याला सप्लाय करायचं असेल तर जनरली ह्यूज अमाऊंट ऑफ वॉटर इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर बॉयलर. त्यामुळे आपण काय करतो, तसंच वॉटर आपण यूज करत असतो. पण त्या वॉटर बरोबर आपलं काय होत असतं, वॉटर इज फ्लोइंग थ्रू द कॅनॉल ऑर रिव्हर, इट मे कॅरी सम काइंड ऑफ लीव्स मड पार्टिकल, चिखल, ओके, दगड्स, ओके, स्टोन्स, दे आर कॅरिंग विथ इट. ओके, आणि हे वॉटर आपण जेव्हा बर्न करतो त्यावेळेस काय होतं की वॉटरची डेन्सिटी कमी आहे आणि सॉलिड पार्टिकल जे आहेत त्याचे मड वगैरे त्याची डेन्सिटी जास्त असल्यामुळे ते सेग्रिगेट ॲट द डाऊन साईड. काय करतो आपण, ही डाऊन साईडला काय होत असले मड पार्टिकल वगैरे ह्या बॉइलरमध्ये गोळा होतात. तर हे असेच जर इथे थांबून राहिले तर काय होईल, ते पार्टिकल विल गेट हिटेड आणि त्याच्यानुसार काय होईल, ते सूट प्रोडक्शन विल स्टार्ट. ते पार्टिकल एकदम जास्त जमा होतील, त्याच्यातलं जर समजा ऍब्सॉर्ब निघून गेलं तर इट विल ट्राय टू ऑक्युपाय द surface, it will try to occupy the surface of the boiler and this may corrode the boiler. Corrosion, wear, problems may occur in that case. And therefore, soot particles will generate throughout the surface. Okay, आणि त्यामुळे आपण काय करतोय, हे ते वॉटर पार्टिकल, ते मड पार्टिकल, स्टोन, it is required to remove from this boiler. And therefore what we are doing is there, it should be after 3-4 hours working of boiler. इथपर्यंत सारखं नाही करायचं आपल्याला. It will what, after 3-4 hours of continuous working of boiler, what we are doing is blow off cock we are operating. Is blow off cock we are operating. हे काय करतो आपण, blow off cock काय करतो, ऑपरेट करतो. त्याच्यामुळे काय होईल, स्टीम जे आहे, स्टीम विल ऑपरेट द प्रेशर ऑन द वॉटर. स्टीम वॉटरवर काय होईल, प्रेशर अप्लाय करेल. आणि प्रेशर अप्लाय केल्यानंतर त्या मड पार्टिकल, पहिल्यांदा इट इज क्लोजर टू द मड डाऊन साइड, मड पार्टिकल वगैरे जे आहेत ते काय होईल, बाहेर निघून जातील. मड अँड वॉटर आउट ड्युरिंग द ब्लोक ऑफ. म्हणजे सगळे मड पार्टिकलवर काय होतील, जी घाण आलेली आहे पाण्याबरोबर, इट विल गेट आउट, ड्रेनड आउट फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिक्युलर बॉइलर व्हेन इट द ब्लो ऑफ कॉक इज ऑपरेटेड. 3 to 4 मिनिट आवर नंतर 2 ते 3 मिनिट चालू करायचा, जेणेकरून सगळं पाण्यातली घाण गेली पाहिजे. व्हेन वी ऑब्झर्व दॅट नाउ इट इज क्लिअर, then again whatever water is drained, same water we can fill with the help of feed check valve. Everybody got the function of blow off cock. So to remove the mud particles, impurities came inside the water during the feeding, so that can be drained with the help of the blow off cock. 3 ते 4 तासांना सारखा ऑपरेट करायचा, 2 ते 3 मिनिटासाठी. सगळे मड पार्टिकल गेले पाहिजे, नंतर पुन्हा बंद करायचा, नंतर पुन्हा आफ्टर 3-4 hours of working again it will start. Okay, now another is there, feasible plug. Another is what, very very important is there, feasible plug. So what is feasible plug? आता काय आहे, वॉटर लेवल इंडिकेटर आहे ठेवलाय आपण वी आर गोइंग टू चेक द वॉटर लेवल इनसाइड द बॉयलर. ह्यासाठी एक इन्स्पेक्शन साठी एक माणूस कामगार दिलेला असतो कंपनीला. बट समटाइम्स व्हाट, if that person is not doing his duty properly, sincerely, then what will happen, he will night shift चालू आहे आणि तो झोपलाय एखादा वर्कर. ओके, आणि इथे वॉटर लेवल कडे लक्षच नाही त्याचं, आणि वॉटर स्टीम मध्ये कन्वर्ट झालं, सप्लाय आपण केली, आणि काय झालं, बर्निंग पण चालू आहे, वॉटर पण कन्झ्युम होतंय सारखं सारखं. तर अशा वेळेस काय होईल, समजा वॉटर सफिशियंट वॉटर नसेल बॉयलर मध्ये, तर काय होईल, पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉयलर will get heated हीट होतील त्या बर्निंग मुळे. आणि एक अशी कंडिशन, त्याचं काय तर मेल्टिंग पॉईंट आहे त्या मटेरियलचा, त्या मेल्टिंग पॉईंट पर्यंत जर गेलं तर ऑल पार्ट्स, ऑल बॉयलर विल मेल्ट अँड इट मे कॉज ऍक्सिडेंट ऑर एक्सप्लोजन. ओके, तर ते जर टाळायचं असेल तर आपण काय करतोय, तर ते आपला काय असतो, फिजिबल प्लग एक असतो. फिजिबल प्लग म्हणजे काय असतो, वन ऑफ द, इट इज मेड अप ऑफ वन गन मेटल. हे कशाने मेड केलं असतं, वन गन मेटल. गन मेटल मीन्स व्हॉट, whose melting point is lesser than the material of boiler. या गन मेटलचा फ्युजिबल प्लग बनवला असतो, आणि ह्याचं काय असं, ह्या इथून जेवढं कंबशन चेंबर असतं त्याला सप्लाय केलेलं असतं. तर हा गन मेटल काय असतो, त्याचं मेल्टिंग पॉईंट इज लेस दॅन द मटेरियल ऑफ द बॉयलर. त्यामुळे काय होईल, तर पहिल्यांदा काय होईल, जर बॉयलर तुमचा जर असं हिट होत गेला, तर पहिल्यांदा काय मेल्ट होईल, एनीबडी, मेल्टिंग पॉईंट कमी असल्यामुळे पहिल्यांदा काय कोण मेल्ट होईल, दिस फिजिबल प्लग, गन मेटलचा असल्यामुळे. आणि गन मेटलचा असल्यामुळे फिजिबल प्लग मेल्ट झाल्यामुळे काय होईल, हा मेल्ट झाला की इथलं जी पाणी आहे, इथलं पाणी फोर्स नुसार काय होईल, इट विल ट्राय, इट विल कम आउट, फ्लश आउट टुवर्ड द कंबशन चेंबर, आणि इट विल सेट ऑफ द फायर. म्हणजे सगळी ती आग काय होईल, फर्नेस मधली विझवेल. नंतर म्हणजे आग एकदा फर्नेसचा एकदा विजला गेला की काय होईल, पुन्हा तो टेम्परेचर त्याचं वाढणार नाही, and it will protect to burn to melt the entire boiler or to burst the boiler. Okay, so this is the function of fusible plug. So all these equipments are there, attachments are there, these are called as boiler mountings. These are called as boiler mountings. कुठल्या water level indicator valve, feed check valve, pressure gauge, then dead weight safety valve, anti priming pipe, then this blow off cock, fusible plug, water level indicators. These are called as what, boiler mountings. This is the construction of the here construction of gun metal. Okay, very good. Vijay replied, but I could not see your reply. Okay. Okay, so now I think this is understood by everybody. Please make chat. Please mention your message, your feedback in chat. Understood, no doubt. Asil doubt, you can ask me that doubt because it is very important, because we are going to be mechanical engineering. We should know all these things. Abhishek Jadhav, Asmita, Sarvade, understood. Okay. Understood. Uday, very good. Uday, Prasad, Arjun, Ingray, very good. Doubt, no doubt. Shiv Prasad, Karande, wait, Google, wait, okay. Vedanta is also understanding. Very good. Yes, sir, understood. Very good. So this kind of feedback I want. Understood. Okay. So this is going to be the Cochran boiler. So we'll now construction. Already I told you the construction consists of vertical cylinder shell. Okay. With a hemispherical crown at step, platform over. So you can go through this construction. So this is the combustion chamber at the rear end in the middle portion of the boiler. So this you will go through this. Okay, already we have know this. Manual is provided at the crown of the boiler facility to inspect and repair of the interior of the boiler. Repair किंवा ह्यासाठी आपल्याला मॅनहोल प्रोव्हाइड केलं जातं, फंक्शन नेम दिलेलं आहे. Now advantages of Cochran boiler. So Cochran boiler advantages are there. So Cochran boiler occupies less floor space as it is small capacity boiler. Construction cost of Cochran boiler is low capacity. Cochran boiler is semi-portable and hence semi-easy to install and transport. म्हणजे एखाद्या ठिकाणी जर असेंबल केला तर आपण एखाद्या ठिकाणी इन्स्टॉल पण करू शकतो किंवा ट्रान्सपोर्टसाठी इझी. बिकॉज ऑफ लेस सेल्फ कंटेन्ड फर्नेस, नो ब्रिक वर्क सेटिंग इज नेसेसरी. कंबशन चेंबरला फक्त ब्रिक वर्क लागते, कंप्लीट ब्रिक वर्क इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. आता पण काय हा फायर ट्यूब बॉयलर असल्यामुळे काय इज फायर ट्यूब बॉयलर, देअरफॉर व्हॉट वी कॅन से the capacity of the Cochran boiler is less because of the vertical design. Okay, capacity less आहे. Cochran boiler requires high headroom space. High headroom space म्हणजे काय तर because it is naturally circulating water type, therefore we require height of the boiler to be too much. Because of the vertical design it often present difficulty in cleaning and inspection. म्हणजे vertical design असल्यामुळे आपल्याला जास्त हाईटला जाऊन इन्स्पेक्ट करायचं किंवा क्लीन करायचं असेल बॉयलर, इट इज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट. कारण ते व्हर्टिकली इट इज गोइंग टू बी हेड जास्त डेव्हलप करायचं असेल तर वी हॅव टू, बिकॉज ऑफ द व्हर्टिकल डिझाईन इट ऑफन प्रेझेंट डिफिकल्टी इन क्लिनिंग अँड इन्स्पेक्शन. ओके, हॉरिझॉन्टलला आपण जास्त एरिया असेल तर आपण वी कॅन कव्हर इट, बट व्हर्टिकली टू गो ओव्हर, सो बिकॉज वी हॅव टू गो फॉर हिअर लॅडर्स एक्सेट्रा. वी हॅव टू यूज लॅडर म्हणजे शिडी सारख्या शिड्या वगैरे यूज करावं लागेल, किंवा we have to make one construction that it should be manually constructed ladders we have to use. Okay, this is construction of the Cochran boiler. So I will upload this PPT in maybe next lecture. Okay, or maybe today also, no problem. And next time I think we'll go for the Babcock and Wilcox boiler. So everybody understand, I think, as per the chat box, I think everybody understand. So one thing is that Bharat, very is Bhargav Dake, why you are giving roll number? Because I have not ended lecture. Okay. Then I think with this, shall we stop today? With this, I think we